Are you serious? Are you serious? The United States, of course, rained down another major U.S. strike against the pro-Assad forces in Syria. According to Fox News, the U.S. military launched fresh airstrikes against the pro-Assad troops in Syria after they ignored repeated warnings by both the coalition and Russian forces, according to officials. Now, the Syrian forces in several vehicles, including at least one tank, were near the Jordanian border and deemed a threat to the coalition partners on the ground. According to the Pentagon officials, they were repeatedly ordered to stop their advance toward the de-escalation zone, but they ignored the warnings. The coalition commander assessed the threat, and after shows of force didn't stop the regime, those forces refused to move out of the de-confliction zone. The commander on the ground called for the airstrikes as a matter of force protection. A senior U.S. defense official is telling Fox News. Another military source told the Associated Press it appeared the Syrian forces were poised to attack an area that included U.S. advisors. So they were building a fighting position about 55 kilometers from the U.S. coalition base close there, and where advisors trained members of the Syrian Democrat forces and Syrian Arab coalitions who were fighting Assad. So Defense Secretary James Mad Dog Mattis briefly addressed the strikes yesterday evening during a meeting with Swedish Defense Minister and said, "We're not increasing our role in Syria's civil war, but we will defend our troops. And that is a coalition element made up of more than just U.S. troops. And so we'll defend ourselves," Mattis said. "If people take aggressive steps against us," and that's been going on, "then a policy of ours for a long time is to defend ourselves." So the U.S. and Russia, which is allied together with the pro-Assad forces, who? The U.S. and Russia, who are allied with the pro-Assad forces, have established buffer zones around their separate areas of operation to avoid collateral damage. In other words, each side has agreed to notify the other if the deployed forces within the buffer zone. So in other words, the United States is on one side, Russia and Assad's forces on the other, and we're to stay away from the de-escalation zone. So when Assad's people would not heed the warning and kept advancing, the United States and Russia, which is, said, look, you can't do that. We agree not to do that. So in case the officials told the Associated Press that Russia tried multiple times to contact the Syrian forces, it was at their point that U.S. and coalition jets escalated their warnings. We conducted a show of force. We conducted warning shots, all to no avail. The American strikes were the first against Assad's positions since the Pentagon rained those 59 Tomahawk missiles down on Syria's Air Force base back, when that happened earlier. I think it was in March. So while this is going on, folks, the war continues to rage over there. Damascus continues to become nothing but a ruinous heap. The war, that message there is shaking things up in North Korea as well. Matter of fact, North Korea is preparing for U.S. cruise missile strikes after they saw this Tomahawk attack on Syria last night. North Korea's army is preparing for a possible cruise missile strike against them following the United States strike against Syria. And since that attack and amid rising tensions with the United States, North Korea has been rebuilding walls to protect the gallery positions from the air raids, according to U.S. government officials. So when we first dropped those 59 Tomahawk missiles down on Assad's air bases, North Korea has started to build walls, trying to figure out a way to protect itself from the same fate. Matter of fact, North Korea seems to be very aware of the U.S. attack on Syria, and it quoted an editor of the North Korean magazine was saying that he added that North Korea was making preparations against cruise missiles. Now, I'm sorry, unless you got a missile defense system, I don't care what you build. It's not going to work. So anyway, there's wars and rumors of wars. There's tension building everywhere. We're going to continue to keep a close eye on all of this as President Donald Trump getting ready to get on an airplane today and head to Saudi Arabia to meet with the King of Saudi Arabia, King Salman. He'll also then be going from there to Jerusalem to meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and it should be an unbelievable reception he will receive by the Israeli people. They love him, and they are anticipating his arrival. The question is, what is he going to be doing in Saudi Arabia? Well, one, he's going to hand them a bill. They owe him and they owe the United States a lot of money. We have defended and protected their country for almost 50 years for free. Those days are over. It's time for them to start paying for the protection we provide. But also, the United States is going to be saying to the Saudi Arabians, but look, let's continue to build a relationship as it relates to your arch enemy, Iran. We're here for you, and we want to help you. And we will also sell you airplanes and tanks and armored vehicles, and we will always be there for you if the Iranians strike you. And while we're at it, I think Trump will also throw in, how about this? The peace negotiations that is beginning between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Trump is going to say to the Saudi Arabians, we need you to back this plan, to also stand with us as we begin this process. And so what the Trump administration is trying to do, and I think Jared Kushner is probably the one he'll be using to do this, trying to create coalition with some of the Arabic nations surrounding Israel and the Palestinian people in a process of peace. Will it work? I don't know. Nothing's ever worked before. But one thing's for sure, if you study biblical prophecy, at some point there's a covenant with many. And somehow the world does come to a small time frame of what looks like peace. And when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh. Well, we're living in the last days. It's going to be very interesting to see how things play out. And we're going to watch it closely. I'll be in Jerusalem right as the president will actually be ahead of me a little bit. He'll probably be leaving the day I'm arriving. We may cross paths, okay, or be very close. But I'll come in behind him, and we'll find out exactly what's going on. I'll be there in Jerusalem on Jerusalem Day. It may be an unbelievable celebration. Trump may have announced that this is the capital of Israel and that he's moving the embassy, or maybe some other announcement. I don't know. He may go to the wall, the Western Wall, and pray. I don't know. The day before I do. I don't know. All I know is we'll be there to cover it for you. Keep your eyes open, folks. Keep looking up. We're living in the days the Bible said would come to pass, and you want to get your life right with Jesus. Are you serious? Get right with God. We are running out of time.